by.
I know. It's just a blink of an eye. I cannot believe 2022 is now hours away from being gone. Depends on where you're at in the world. Some parts of the world, you're already in 2023. So
Like
congrats
I say,
to those folks.
Yeah. Time, the best news is time flies. Or the bad news is time flies. The best news is that you are the pilot. So it is how you spend your time, because we all have the same 24 hours in a day, 365 days in a year. Some people can get a ton of stuff done. And then some of us have the same goal that we come back to every year for the last decade that we haven't quite been able to do. So there are specific reasons for that.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons that kind of together why we even have this group. It's just to have a community of people who enjoy the passion of running, no matter what your level, how far, how fast, it doesn't matter.
Runners are runners.
Runners are runners, and it's about eating healthy, and so you can avoid injury and enjoy that to the fullest and live the happiest life that's best for you. I mean, that's really it when you sum it up. So today we're going to wrap it up kind of and talk about these New Year's resolutions and how that can help you guys plan for the new year, right?
Yeah. When actually we know the resolution part of it is kind of, it's just something that is stuck. But, you know, statistically, they say only about 8% of them come to fruition, and most people drop off them by February.
By the middle of February, I think the numbers are 80% of people have already given up, right? So anyway,
like I said, there's reasons for that.
And hopefully that's not you. Hopefully you're going to have some goals, which we're going to talk about today. We've accomplished some of our goals. We're still working. We're a work in progress. As I say here, I'm confident that I'm always improving, even if I'm not exactly where I want to be, which is exactly why we're doing this today, right? So as we state each week, we're not talking about any medical advice today, but the biggest takeaway is for you to make goals and to think for yourself, right? That's critical that we do that, right?
Yes.
And we're getting information that we've researched that's worked for us, but you have to take that, internalize that, and decide what's best for you, because we're all different, right? We all have common things. We're all man and woman, but we also have, you got to do what's best for you, right? So last 2 weeks ago now, we skipped last week because it was Christmas. We talked about intermittent fasting for runners, or I did, I should say. And again, it's not new. No, we did together, didn't we? Or I can't remember that. No, I did that one. Yeah, I forgot now. That's right. You flew back. It's eating in a time restricted window, the 16-8, 18-6, or 24. If you haven't tried it, I would encourage you to at least try. Again, consult with your doctor. It can help build muscle while promoting fat loss. Studies do suggest it can suppress inflammation. Every one of us, again, is different. And then you got to do it slowly, but consult with your physician, which we always say each week. So, and that's about everything really when you think about it. So today we're going to talk about these lovely New Year's resolutions and really why they fail, right? And there's some key reasons. Yet we all know this, but sometimes I think we need that reminder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The biggest thing, especially when you're having big goals, no one's an island. We don't do anything in a vacuum. The more support you have, the more people you tell that you care about their opinions, whether you need to tell people that are going to encourage you. You don't want to be telling your friends that are always like, "Oh, really? Are you doing that?"
Yeah, the negative people trying to drag you down.
Hopefully, you've eliminated those people from your life.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the people that are in your life are all the people that support you, believe in you, and believe in what you can do.
Right, and we believe in you guys, and that's why we're doing this. It reinforces to hold us accountable, but to also give you guys some accountability as well. And that's one of the big reasons why it fails.
But you have to find that and it might not be in your household. It might not be your spouse sometimes. I mean, sadly, it might not be, whoever your normal support system is, but you need to, if you want to be successful, you're going to have to find a support system. Accountability, a partner, a coach, a group,
however you define
that. Whatever it works for you, but know that is one of the crucial pieces to whether people achieve their goals or not.
Yeah, exactly. And so then the other one is they're not smart. We've all heard that acronym before, but they are strategic. No. I got something in business wise. Sorry about that.
No. Well, basically people start, I want to get healthy and I want to lose the weight. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
That's very vague. That's very vague or whatever. SMART goals are specific.
Specific, right.
I want to lose 15 pounds in the next 3 months, and I'm going to do it by eating more vegetables and drinking more water. It has to be very, very specific. It has to be measurable. It is a quantitative. I want to PR my next 5K. I have this time in mind. It has to be something that we can measure by success, and along the way, our success along the way. So that's a huge, huge part of it. But we actually have to believe that we can actually do it.
Yeah, it's got to be attainable. If you say that you want,
like, he wants to run a 3-hour marathon,
that's not going to happen.
I mean, he doesn't even believe it. I don't believe it, because I don't, not that I don't believe he can do it. I don't believe he's willing to do the work to do it. And there's a big difference there.
Right, exactly.
But regardless, that would be, if he wrote that down as his goal, I would counsel him to maybe make it a little more attainable, start a little bit smaller, something that's a little closer to your wheelhouse, but one of the biggest thing is people.
But you still want it to be a stretch, but you want it to be attainable, so it's realistic, right?
But you have to want it. There has to be a reason, not just because all runners should qualify for Boston. I want to qualify for Boston. What would that mean to you? That has to be, for you to put the work in to make this goal, especially the bigger the goals are, it has to be inherently, not I want to lose weight. I want to be healthy so I can see my grandkids graduate, college. It has to be relative like that. I don't want my partner something to happen to them. These are the things that it has to be relevant to something deeply, deeply, deeply that you care about, that is meaningful to you, because it's going to get hard. Willpower is not what gets you there. You're going to have to day in and day out make changes and do these things, and that is hard. Consistently doing that is hard. So if you can't visualize and have that feeling of what it's going to feel like, and know that I want this, I know what it's going to feel like, this is going to be powerful for me,
and believe it, of course.
Yeah, but the bigger that can be, the more likely you're going to be able to do the work to get through it. And then It has to be time bound. Like you said, I want to run my first marathon. I'm signing up for a race in September or October.
And I want to do a 5-hour marathon or a 4-hour, whatever your goal is, right?
And, I am going to do this plan, and map that out. That's something that's measurable. It's something you can get an action plan for. That is something that is timed. All those things are there for you. So that's what they need to look like. They need to have those specific, that's why they have that acronym, but those specific qualities are the best success for you to be able to achieve your goals.
Right. Now, self-doubt, I just mentioned that a second ago. You have to believe that you can do this, right? Mm-hmm. But that goes back to why having the accountability, having those specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound goals, and believe that you can do it. And like Patty said, you got to have that feeling of what's it going to feel like when you either cross the line for your first half, or your first, or you PR that race, well, whatever that goal is for you, right? This is stuff that we all know, but these are things why it fails, because we start to have that, because you're going to have it. We all do, right? Yeah. Every day.
And what you did in the past, just because you failed in the past, or where you're starting out right now, the past doesn't matter. That's just where you're starting from. So it doesn't define you. It's what you do going forward. So you have to let go of that. Be like, yes, I failed in the past, because, when you look back, you could be like, well, I wasn't strategic about it. I didn't do these things. I didn't have any accountability. I'll do it on my own. All of these things that you can probably, parse back and see, that's why it happened. So this is going to, your brain's going to be like, oh, I remember this. Yeah, you were stressed out. You didn't like this. Maybe you shouldn't do this. Your brain always wants to protect you, and it's going to have all those lovely little things to tell you to protect you. But you're going to say, nope, that's just where I'm starting at now, and I am going to do something different.
And the biggest thing is, when you set those goals, it should be a stretch, right? It's got to be out of your comfort zone. We all know you're not going to grow until you step out of your comfort zone, right? But it's going to require a new you. To get from here to there, you're going to have to transform in some way. Therefore, it's going to have to change the behavior and relate to your decisions, which ties back to that feeling that you want to attain.
But that takes a big thing. It takes a different part of you to create a different level in your life. You know, if you want to change, grow, do all that, that is going to take, you know, a different you. And as long as you can accept the fact that some change, and depending on how big the goal is, it might be a lot of change, is going to have to happen. People somehow think that everything's going to stay the same, but they want these goals. They don't really want to do anything different, but they want that. And we know that doesn't make sense. But yet that's inherently what we kind of, we get stuck in that loop of, well, I don't know what a new version of me would look like. I don't know what, you don't have to know. You just have to start and make small changes. And then you see and you develop, and that builds on itself. And then you realize, hey, I can do this. Hey, I am. I'm not the slow runner I thought I was. I'm not this XYZ, whatever I thought I was. I'm this now. And it's enlightening, and but it's scary.
It's empowering.
And your brain is going to try to stop you from this because it doesn't like you to be scared.
Yes, it is so true. And we all have those battles. Trust me, we are just as guilty,
yeah,
right?
But when you recognize, like, that's what it is, and you know that is going to be normal, and you're going to mitigate the friction that's going to take, you know, to stop you from doing that, and move on. But the biggest thing is we talk a big game and we don't do any. It takes precise and deliberate action.
Yeah. And
me signing up for that half Ironman when I couldn't barely swim, I knew I needed to 100%, you know, throw my feet in the fire and swim more than I've ever swum in my life, and had to figure out how I could swim before work, how I could do this. I literally 5:30 in the morning going down there.
That was impressive.
But I was scared for this race. You know, I'm like, I was terrible in the water. Ask anybody. And everyone was like, why are you doing this? I don't know, but I know I want to do this. I knew I wanted to do it. I knew I was going to do it. But it took a lot of actionable steps to get me to there. But I recognized that beforehand. For some reason, we do other things and we don't realize all those steps, or we think that we can just wing that part of it and it's going to happen. We don't apply those things when we've had to everything. If you apply that to everything you did, you'd be accomplishing a lot of stuff. So, and
then you'd be proud of those accomplishments, right? Mm-hmm. So this is why we have the group. It's why we do these each week, to try to hold us accountable and hopefully help you guys. Have,
you know, posting the pictures, posting race pictures, posting your runs. You guys are out there daily, weekly, doing the grind, doing all the hard stuff or whatever. We want to see that. We want to encourage, you know, that is motivation. That's what gives you that motivation. You know, it takes discipline to keep doing that consistently, but that is what, you know, helps you to get there.
Like we say, when you post that picture, you don't know if it motivates that one person who Absolutely. Just is silent, which is fine. But if you get them to put their shoes on and go outside, that's awesome. That's what we want, because it's going to help. This stuff just compounds each other, right? And Patty just mentioned a minute ago, you have to understand, why do you even want to do it in the first place? Don't just say it to say it, because we've all done that.
No, you need to write down deeply. Like, this needs to be something that truly, truly matters to you. That is, otherwise, if you're kind of like, oh, that would be nice. Yeah, I wished I was faster for probably about 10 years. Didn't do anything different. Right. Every year was like, why am I not getting faster? I want to get faster. I'm like, no, I didn't want to get faster. I like the idea of getting faster. So I did not attach that to any actionable steps. And I did not attach that to a why of how I would feel if I did this time in the marathon, or if I did this time. You know, now I know to get that goal, that has to be a critical part of me doing the extensive work it's going to take for me to PR my marathon. And that's what will keep you going, because that's going to take a long time. You know, big goals take a long time. There's nothing short and easy that gives you gigantic results. Very, very few things in life are like that.
It's so true. And yet, you know this, right? When you really stop and think about that, right? So Patty just mentioned this a minute ago as well, is you have to really articulate and think about, how do you want to feel when you accomplish that goal? Because that's really going to drive that motivation and that that those days when you don't want to do it to say, okay, maybe I will. And you look in the group and somebody just posted a picture. You're like, okay, that's the motivation I needed, right? Mm-hmm. To get going. So you really want to think about that.
Absolutely.
And again, what action steps are you going to need to take then to achieve that goal?
You need to reverse engineer it, basically. You need to reverse engineer back to what's, like I said, if it's for a race, if it's for that, what that's going to look like. For me to do my marathon, it was like, that was too big of a goal. I had to break that down into smaller goals. But trying to PR a 5K, that's much more manageable. You break down. Not that I don't believe I can't do that big one, but that scares the crap out of me right now. So, but this, all right, this I can do. You get the little momentum, you get that win, you do that. Then you're like, all right, if I did that, I can do this. If I do that, I can do this.
Yeah, and identify that friction, as she was just mentioning, right? Does it's going to happen? It's life, right? So it's going to happen. So you have to at least be aware that it's coming. Absolutely. So you can then address and go back to your why, how you want to feel. You can move through that, and when you have that accountability,
there are things. It's either going to be people, circumstances, things all around you that are going to try to stop you from doing this. That are going to test you to see, do you really, really want this? And either you give into the friction, or you're like, I knew that was coming. I knew so and so was probably going to be like that. Was not going to be with me, so I'm going to do this to supersede that. If you can mitigate this friction in your life, that goes a long way for just having a happier life, but is, like I said, another critical part in actually achieving those goals, because you deserve to achieve those goals. You deserve to have that, whatever that is for you. Don't be afraid. You're not too old. It's not too late for you to be a different version of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So again, if you want to run that first 5K, we know it's some new members of the group. Don't know if they've run a 5K or 10K, a half or a full, doesn't matter, right? Mm-hmm. Set that as a goal, but go back to what we just talked about. Why do you want to do it? Just don't do it to do it, right? Understand what's that real end goal, and how do you want to feel? How will that make you feel when you're done? Because you're really battling this, right? Once you battle and you win, we've all done that. You're like, okay, I can do this.
How strong. And you always have to, you look back on all the hard things you've already done.
Yeah, you guys have already done
survived.
Those. Exactly.
You've survived everything hard that you've done so far.
You're still here, right? We're still here kicking. So whether you want to beat like a PR for a race, that's one that we're looking at. We were just talking about it this morning. Now back to the health and the nutrition side, right?
Yeah, most everybody is like, I want to lose, I want to lose weight. I want to get healthier. A, what does that even mean to you? B, start making some small habits. Like I said, to get you to run a race or do a marathon, the best thing to do is pay for one that's far enough out to where you can get a training plan together and get through it. Having these different goals, but people say, I'm going to completely change the food I eat. I'm not going to go out to eat. I'm not going to do this, and I'm going to start going to the gym 5 days a week. No, probably not. Yeah, that's probably not. Right. When you're going out to eat 5 days a week now, and you're not doing anything. Those are big things. That is like me saying, I'm going to go out. The next marathon I want to do is going to be a 3-hour marathon. I've done 21 marathons, but nowhere near that.
Yeah, there's a big difference. It's not attainable. It's not reasonable, right?
That would not be reasonable for me at this juncture. And I would set myself up for complete failure if I tried to make that my goal. Now, if I was willing to commit to the next 2 years of my life, doing that, striving for that, doing that, then yeah, probably.
But why?
But my why is not big enough for that amount of work that it's going to take.
Right.
Why it has to be big enough.
Right. And these are some simple things as we talk about all the time, right? Just eat more protein as we talk. Ad nauseum, which we'll keep doing because it's so important, right? Drink more water.
For healthy habits. Like just everybody can probably, be a little healthier and do all that. Those are just the small habits. Starting out with very small habits, drink more water this week. The next week, try to, if you're not a runner, or if you're trying to run more, run, maybe 20 minutes more on your next, run. Add in these things in small slow increments is what sets you up for success, allows you to see like, okay, all right, I did that. That wasn't so bad. Okay, maybe I can do something else. Don't try to pile it all up on one thing and change everything, overhaul your life in one fell swoop. Slowly progress. Our bodies, our minds, everything like slow progression.
Yeah. So we talked about this a year ago. We made a conscious choice to work on strength training because we recognized we could do a lot better, right? And we've done a good job at that. Can we do better? Absolutely. And we're going to keep going down that path because we have made that progress. And now we recognize the benefits. We're like, wow, now I see the change, and I knew it, but I had to do the work, right? I want to have that right feeling. And you're like, okay, now I want to keep going. And that gives you the momentum, which is what we all need, is momentum.
Yeah. And I've made a full commitment to work out 3 days, weight train 3 days a week. And when you make that commitment and you do it consistently and you see the gains, that is when you're like, wow,
I can do this. It's not that hard. And it motivates you to do it even more, right?
Exactly. So, but if you're not doing this right now, I would strongly encourage you to make that one of your 2023 goals.
Right. Again, don't beat yourself up. Your past does not dictate your future.
2 to 3 days a week.
At least.
Nothing crazy.
Yep.
Just, it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be in a gym. It just has to be, I've talked ad nauseum about the compound exercises. You can do them with body weight. You can do them with resistance bands. You can do all these things. But you just have to do it.
Yeah.
And you got to drink the water. Most everyone is slightly dehydrated.
Sadly. Sadly, it's true.
If you could commit to 10,000 steps a day, drinking 100 ounces of water, getting 100 grams of protein,
you would notice the change.
And strength training 3 days a week, that would solve 90% of people's issues that they have.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not hard. That's
really not.
For us, that's pretty easy because we know a lot of us get our 10,000 steps in the morning on our morning run. Now the key is to be moved throughout the day. That's what kind of messes us up. But most people, that would literally change their life.
Yeah, it really would. And we're always a work in progress, right? So again, have some purpose to those workouts, which ties back to your why, all that stuff, right?
Those workouts are to keep you running later in life and make you injury resilient. We all want to be injury resilient.
As we can as we age, because we know we lose muscle as we age, right?
We lose muscle and bone strength.
Right?
Running and strength training will mitigate that.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, eating healthy, nutritional food, right? So, and the bottom line is if you stop giving up, you will reach these goals, right? Because we've all done that.
Exactly. Right? You only fail when you stop trying.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then lastly is, again, a lot of people will fail because you need that accountability when those days when you just do not want to do it, because it's going to happen. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah, you need to track your progress, but having somebody else helping you track that progress is huge. And statistically, it's proven the more support you have with any endeavor that you're doing, the greater chance of success you have.
Right, which we talked about earlier, is that you should be really cutting out those toxic relationships in your life if you can control that. They're not moving you forward, because there's going to be people, if you say you want to run your first half or whatever, you're going to have friends and whoever frown upon that.
Yeah. I mean, when we change the way we eat, I got a lot of pushback from a lot of people, surprisingly, because making me feel like we were being the extremes, like this was being extreme. And I'm like, when did eating healthy become extreme? When did exercising every day become extreme? But
that's another whole topic.
That's a whole other topic. But I knew the reasons why those people were saying that, and that had nothing to do with me. And I was going to do what works for me.
This is what we encourage you guys to do,
and that's
right?
What you got to do too.
For yourself, right?
Yeah.
So again, if you need some help, because we all do, get an accountability partner. That's why we have this group. And if you want a little bit more help, we are still offering you guys to do we'll customize your macros. And one of the biggest things at this time of year is people say, I want to eat healthier, I want to get more nutrition, eat all that stuff, right? But it comes down to the foods you're eating. So we're offering, again, you guys will customize your macros. We'll do that for free just to get you going.
What if you are trying to lose weight, what calorie deficit you need to be in? There's a lot of things that go around there that are kind of confusing.
Right.
But There's simple formulas based on your age and your specific measurements for what you need to do.
Right.
For
Again,
yourself.
We'll give you guys some guidance. You can work with your physician at that point. You make smart decisions. Just use common sense at that point. But in any event, we're down to, for us, it's just over 12 hours till the last of 2022 is here, and it will be bye-bye. So hopefully you guys can get out and enjoy the holiday weekend, and hopefully get a run in wherever you are in the world. I know some of you guys way north, up in Canada, and then even northern part of the U.S. is a little cold, a little snowy up there, but do what you can do, and at least try to make those decisions what you can do. So
absolutely. All right, but we're here from you. Let us, like I said, if we can help you, we'll be more than happy to. But have an awesome day, because you deserve it.
And you guys deserve it, and we will talk to you next year.
That'll